we're a very unique business here in that we offset 3 times the carbon emissions from our own business, as well as all of the web hosting and website visitors that our clients' websites receive. And that the latter is really the interesting and special part. We're not just offsetting the carbon emissions of having web servers and hosting the servers. We actually use a mathematical model for the cost of a website visitor that takes into account their local computer, their internet connection, the backhaul between their local internet hub and the server, the electricity and storage, the size of the files and data that needs to go across the web and all that. So, I mean, it's very elaborate and it's really cool. And so for the last maybe 4 years, we've done a carbon offset. I guess this would be the 4th year. And we've worked with Forterra and their carbon capture program. And the way they run their carbon capture program is basically we contact them, we say we need so many tons of carbon offset, and then they plant trees that using their model are equivalent to capturing that much carbon. This year, I'm looking for a better way than the carbon capture program. And the reason is that Forterra is using a model that considers, I'm going deep, sorry, stick with me. They're using a model that considers the amount of carbon stored in a tree. But if we're thinking about the desire to offset, a tree when it lives, it emits carbon as well as consumes carbon, right? So if it's got leaves or needles, those drop, limbs, those drop, those decay. As those decay, they give off carbon. And so if you zoom out to the ecosystem level of a tree, the answer you get on the amount of carbon that you can sequester with a tree is different than if you just look at the interior mass of the tree and the amount of carbon that's sequestered by the tree. So essentially they're using an old model or a less inclusive model for how they determine the value or the offset value of a tree. So we could, of course, expand and just do some sort of multiplier on the number of trees, but I'm actually looking for other interesting projects that we could support to help achieve these offset goals. So if you have ideas, I would love to hear them. One that I am particularly interested in is working to find an oil well. A lot of these old oil exploration wells back in the day, there were no regulations on capping. And so, maybe you just threw sand down the well until it stopped taking sand and now it's capped. Well, they give off greenhouse gas emissions, particularly methane, these old oil wells that are uncapped. And we believe there's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these in the United States that are giving off greenhouse gas emissions, equivalent to perhaps 2.5 million cars worth of emissions per year. So it's really substantial. And there's an organization here in Montana called the Well Done Foundation that helps. Their mission is to identify and cap these old oil and gas wells to eliminate the greenhouse gas emissions. So I'm very much looking for an oil well that we could partially sponsor or fully sponsor the recapping of to eliminate the carbon emissions. We haven't had much oil exploration here in Washington. There's been very little oil exploration. There's been very, very little oil production, commercial production in the state of Washington. And so I'm working with ecology to try to find a well, but honestly, we might not find one in Washington state. So anyway, if you'd like to learn more, you can check out the Well Done Foundation. If you want to see the kind of work we've been doing so far, you can check out Evergreen's carbon capture program, Forterra's Evergreen carbon capture program. And if you have other ideas on things we might do to offset, I would love to hear them. In our last round of offset, we did about 159 tons. And, I've considered buying established forest land and holding it for this purpose and all sorts of things. So if you have ideas, be sure to let me know. If you want to learn more, check out some of these resources and do spread the word with our clients as it comes up, because they typically don't know very much about what we're doing here. We're not doing a whole lot to communicate about this yet. So thanks.